You just spent 3 hours baking a cake from scratch, and now you're about to ruin it with a tub of shelf-stable chemicals. In America, we've been conditioned to think that frosting should come in a plastic tub and last for 2 years in the pantry. But if you look at the ingredients of the most famous brands, you won't find butter, cream, or real vanilla. Instead, you're looking at a mixture of hydrogenated oils, artificial dyes linked to hyperactivity, and whitening agents used in paint. Today, we're ranking 11 American frosting brands to see which ones are worth the sugar rush and which ones are just flavored plastic. Let's start with the 4 bottom tier brands that should never touch your cake. Brand number 1, Pillsbury Creamy Supreme. This is the undisputed titan of the baking aisle. Whether it's the classic vanilla or the neon-colored funfetti varieties, Pillsbury is the brand every American child recognizes. But don't let the cute, giggling Pillsbury Doughboy fool you. This tub is a chemical minefield. The primary ingredient after sugar is in a dairy product. It's palm oil and partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. This is an industrial fat designed to stay solid at room temperature, which is why this frosting leaves that signature waxy film on the roof of your mouth that refuses to melt, even with a hot cup of coffee. To achieve that iconic, perfect look, they use titanium dioxide, a chemical whitener that was recently banned in the European Union for use in food, but is still dumped into American frosting to make it look brighter than a Hollywood smile. It doesn't taste like frosting, it tastes like sweet whipped vegetable shortening with a heavy dose of artificial vanilla perfume. It's cheap, it's indestructible, and it's a guaranteed way to make a homemade cake taste like a mass-produced gas station snack. Brand number 2, Betty Crocker Rich and Creamy. Betty Crocker is the arch rival to Pillsbury, and while the red spoon logo looks wholesome, the ingredient list is anything but. The label boldly claims the product is rich and creamy, but here is the cold, hard truth. There is absolutely zero dairy in this tub. To achieve a fluffy, spreadable texture without using real butter or eggs, Betty Crocker's chemists rely on a cocktail of industrial emulsifiers like distilled monoglycerides, sodium stearoyl lactylate, and polysorbate 60. These are the same compounds used in cosmetics and heavy-duty food production to keep oil and water from separating for years on a shelf. If you left this tub open on your porch in the middle of a July heat wave, bugs wouldn't even go near it, and that should tell you everything you need to know. It has a strange, lingering, metallic aftertaste and a chemical sweetness that hits the back of your throat like a punch. You aren't buying a dessert topping, you're buying an edible, shelf-stable foam engineered to survive a nuclear winter. Brand number 3, Duncan Hines Creamy Homestyle. Duncan Hines often tries to position itself as the premium choice among the big supermarket players, but it's nothing more than a marketing illusion. Despite the home-style branding, no one in the history of home baking has ever used high fructose corn syrup and sodium acid pyrophosphate to frost a cake. The biggest offender here is the artificial flavor. Because real vanilla extract is expensive, Duncan Hines uses high concentration of synthetic vanillin and natural and artificial flavors that give off an overwhelming, almost floral scent the second you peel back the foil. It is aggressively sweet, so sweet that it masks the flavor of the actual cake you're eating. It's designed to be a utility product. It hides the dry texture of a cheap box mix, but it brings absolutely nothing to the table in terms of culinary quality. It's the middle ground of mediocrity, selling you the idea of a home-cooked meal while delivering a laboratory experiment in every spoonful. Brand number 4, Great Value Frosting. If the big name brands are a disappointment, the Walmart generic version is a literal race to the bottom. This is the cheapest frosting you can buy in the United States, and you can feel the cost cut in every bite. To keep the price point under $2, Walmart increases the ratio of cornstarch and artificial preservatives like potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate. The result is a texture that is often grainy or gritty because the sugar wasn't ground fine enough to properly emulsify with the cheap vegetable fats, and has a heavy, greasy finish that coats your tongue and makes it difficult to taste anything else for the next hour. This isn't just bad frosting, it's a reminder of why cheap usually comes with a hidden cost to your palate and your health. It is the lowest grade of frosting available on American soil, and using it is the ultimate sign that you've officially given up on your dessert. Now we're moving into the middle tier. These are the brands you buy when you start reading labels and realize the big three are basically flavored industrial oil. These bottles and tubs usually sit on the higher shelves in stores like Whole Foods or Sprouts. They've ditched the artificial dyes and the high fructose corn syrup, which is a huge win for your health. However, don't let the natural branding fool you. Just because it doesn't have Red 40 doesn't mean it's perfect. These brands still have to solve the shelf life problem, and they often do it by using massive amounts of thickeners and vegan stabilizers that can give the frosting a strange, gummy texture. Brand number 5, Simple Mills Organic Frosting. Simple Mills is the darling of the clean label movement. They use coconut oil instead of palm oil, and they sweeten it with monk fruit or organic cane sugar. It is a massive upgrade because it contains 0 synthetic chemicals. However, there is a catch: the texture. Because they don't use industrial emulsifiers, this frosting can be incredibly finicky. If it's too cold, it's hard as a rock. If it's too warm, it turns into a puddle. It also has a very strong coconut flavor, which is fine if you like coconut, but it can clash with a classic chocolate or vanilla cake. It's a great choice for your health, but it's not the easiest to work with in the kitchen. Brand number 6, Miss Jones Frosting. Miss Jones was one of the first brands to bring organic frosting to the mass market. They use high-quality organic ingredients and sustainable palm oil. This is a solid, honest product. It tastes much closer to something you'd make at home because they use real salt and real vanilla extract. The downside? It is incredibly sweet, sometimes even sweeter than the cheap stuff. Because they don't use chemical flavor maskers, you get the full hit of the sugar. It's a cleaner version of the classic American tub frosting, but it still feels a bit heavy and dense compared to a professional buttercream. Brand number 7, Food Stirs Frosting. Mix Food Stirs, co-founded by Sarah Michelle Gellar, markets itself as junk-free baking. They use ethically sourced cocoa and fair trade sugar. The quality of the ingredients is top-notch. However, they often sell their frosting as a mix or in a pouch that requires a bit more prep. While this keeps the product fresher and avoids the need for heavy preservatives, it's not as convenient as a pop-top tub. The flavor is excellent, very rich and deep, but the price point is often double what you pay for a standard brand. You're paying a celebrity tax along with a clean tax, which makes it a hard sell for a casual weekend bake. Brand number 8, Pillsbury Zero Sugar Frosting. We have to talk about this because it's a huge trend in the US right now. People think they are being healthy by choosing the zero sugar version of their favorite brand. But here's the reality. When you take out the sugar, you have to replace it with something. This frosting is loaded with sugar alcohols like maltitol and polydextrose. These ingredients are notorious for causing digestive distress, meaning if you eat too much of this, you're going to have a very bad night. It also has a lingering artificial aftertaste that sticks to your tongue. It might be zero sugar, but it is a laboratory creation that is far more processed than the original. We've looked at the tubs that are basically flavored plastic, and the clean brands that are better but still feel a bit off. Now, we're talking about the gold standard. If you are a professional baker or just someone who refuses to compromise on quality, these are the only 3 directions you should go. In a world of shelf-stable sludge, these options prioritize real fat, real sugar, and real flavor. If you want that bakery quality finish that melts on your tongue instead of coating your mouth in wax, this is where you finish your search. Brand number 9, King Arthur Buttercream Mix. King Arthur is the oldest flour company in America, and they don't play games with quality. Their frosting isn't sold in a tub, it comes as a high-quality mix. Why? Because you can't put real butter in a shelf-stable plastic tub without it spoiling. By providing the dry base of professional-grade confectioner's sugar and real vanilla bean, they allow you to add the fresh butter and cream at home. This is the ultimate cheat code. It takes 2 minutes to whip up, but because it uses your fresh dairy, it tastes 1000% better than anything sitting in a pre-made container. No hydrogenated oils, no titanium dioxide, just pure airy buttercream. Brand number 10, Birch Benders, organic specialty frosting. Birch Benders has taken the American market by storm because they managed to do what the big corporations couldn't: create a frosting that is actually clean without tasting like a laboratory experiment. While most brands use palm oil or cheap soy, Birch Benders relies on a sophisticated blend of organic fats that mimic the melting point of real butter. The real game changer is how they handle the sweetness. Instead of the massive sugar spike of high fructose corn syrup, they use erythritol and monk fruit in a way that avoids that bitter chemical aftertaste. This is the brand that health-conscious Americans reach for when they want a zero-guilt dessert that doesn't sacrifice the mouthfeel of a classic buttercream. It's light, it's fluffy, and it doesn't leave that heavy, greasy film on your tongue that defines the lower tiers. It's the perfect bridge between healthy and delicious. Brand number 11, Fit Bake Frosting. If you haven't heard of Fit Bake yet, you're missing out on what is arguably the most disruptive brand in the American baking aisle right now. They don't sell to the masses, they sell to the people who read every single word on the ingredient label. Fit Bake frosting is famous for being incredibly thick and stable, meaning you can actually use it for professional level piping and decorating, which is impossible with the runny tubs of Betty Crocker. What puts them in the gold standard is their commitment to real flavors. When you buy their chocolate frosting, you aren't getting cocoa-flavored brown dye. You're getting premium cold-pressed cocoa that has a deep, bitter complexity. It is the closest thing you can find to a professional ganache in a pre-made container. It's expensive, it's hard to find outside of specialty shops, and it is worth every single cent if you want your guests to think you hired a professional pastry chef. The bottom line is that frosting is meant to be a luxury, not a chemical experiment. If the frosting you're buying can sit on a shelf for 2 years without rotting, it's because it isn't real food. The big three brands are selling you whipped vegetable oil and artificial dyes that are literally banned in other countries. Stop settling for the waxy film and the chemical aftertaste. If you're short on time, grab a high-quality mix like King Arthur and add your own real butter. If you have 10 minutes, whip up a fresh batch from scratch. Your cake deserves better than a plastic tub of shelf-stable foam. Buy real ingredients, get real flavor, and stop feeding your family industrial whiteners and dyes. Your taste buds and your health will thank you.